Introducing Minor Wisdom Quintet.
1, 2, a skidoo-doo-doo.
Minor Wisdom.
Another week has come and gone. This week on Minor Wisdom, I've got Miranda Richter, who has an extensive theater background. She's a dancer, though. She's a dance teacher, but her family raised her to be sort of theatrical, and she is. And it's kind of a spin, a new spin on Minor Wisdom. I'm not going to do this too often, but I, went outside the box, interviewed a dance director and a dance teacher, someone that puts together massive productions for their spring show. Very theatrical productions at a very well-to-do school, if you don't mind me saying that. Hope nobody minds me saying that, but they are a school that does pretty decent financially for themselves, if I do say so. So, but they put on some big productions in the spring, and the theater department helps with that. I think it's very important that the theater department gets involved with as many fine arts events as possible. That's my opinion. Whether you agree with me or disagree, you're wrong if you disagree. But whether you agree with me or disagree, a theater kid should really be just well-rounded, and they should know how to sit there and run one microphone with a PowerPoint, a talking head as they call it, or run a dance show, a band show. I've had actors read stories during Christmas band performances or orchestra performances. I think a lot of us have had that, but I think getting those kids out there seeing all kinds of theatrical performances, even wrestling, is a good thing. So that's why I kind of decided to interview Miranda this week. And it was a fun interview. The school year is right around the corner. And with the school year means that we've got TETA coming up in September in Dallas. We've got Thespian Convention in November. We've got the Thespian Teacher Convention in January. Before all that, we've got these leadership conferences. But the one thing that I really wanted to point out, because right now, again, there's an influx of a need for teachers that teach technical theater. And USITT is in Houston this year for its 60th anniversary at the beginning of April. And let's be honest, most of us will not still be in UIL 1-Act Play season, so you should make plans now to go to USITT. And even if you are not a technical person, go there and learn something new. And maybe it'll better your department. It'll improve your department. USITT, I've been a couple times, is a magnificent conference with lots of technicians, lots of people there just throwing things at you, literally and figuratively. So I highly recommend it, being that it's in Texas this year. Whether you are in Houston or not, you should try it out. So with this interview with Miranda Richter, we got our I got my oldest with her daughter together, had a play date. Hopefully they were distracted, but you're going to hear lots of different breaks in between our interview because they came in. You'll hear some banging in the background. Eventually I get a police car that kind of just comes in. I think it was spying on us. I don't know, but it was fun to have our kids there playing and getting to talk to her. I hope you enjoyed this week's interview, and I hope you enjoy this week's groaner joke. How many actors does it take to change a light bulb? 100, of course. 1 to screw in the light bulb, and 99 to stand around saying it should be me up there.
Well, I'm a Fort Bend product, so K-12. Grew up in the house that we're in right now. I know, cray. I went to Palmer Elementary, Lake Olympia Middle School, Elkins High School. Started dance at a very young age at Robbins Dance Studio, and then carried that throughout. And then when I got to high school, I was on the Elkins Elite. Then became an officer, leader, and everything. And when I went to college, I wanted to go to a school that had a lot of school spirit. So,
whoop.
Yep. A&M, here I came. And then they had I actually was a communications major, or a SCOM major, speech communications.
A ska major?
SCOM, I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, scum.
Scum.
Not ska like the dance.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
But they had just started a minor program, so I was one of the first kiddos that went through the minor program. I was like one of 50 kids, and I got a lot of really good hands-on experience in performing and choreography. I mean, when I went to school, I had no intentions of like being a dance teacher
Right.
or anything like that. I just wanted to go, have a good time, kind of get a degree, and I figured I always was gonna somehow come back to this, whether it was like teaching or I don't know, just being in dance. And when I graduated college, I seriously was set out to go save the world. And believe it or not, but I
Did you?
one kid at a time. Yeah, I'm still on the first one. But I taught third grade, my first year teaching, and it was a terrible mistake. I graduated in May, and then I did an intense whatchamacallit?
Alternative cert?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that summer. And then started teaching in Pearland, and I left school the first day of school in tears. I was like, this is not for me.
Yeah.
And so throughout that year, I learned a lot about teaching, a lot of hands-on, and just kind of just honed into myself. And I thought, you know what, I really want to be back in dance.
Right. You were teaching in Pearland third grade. Mm-hmm. No offense to the third graders that are listening right now, but you hated it. I have a huge third grade population that listens to this podcast, so it's my demo.
Yeah.
And you got into, did you start right at Ridgepoint?
No.
Or was that your first?
So about 3/4 of the way through the school year, I started reaching out to my old high school teachers and mentors, one of them being Angela Hayes. And I said, hey, remember me? I gave her my little bio, and I was like, hey, I'm really looking into moving into the high school sector. So do you know of any openings, this and that? And before I know it, like a few months rolled by, and she was like, hey, there's an opening at Dulles. I would love for you to come work at Dulles. And I was like, yes, ma'am. Like, where do I, when, how, let's get started. And so I moved on to Dulles. I was there for 5 years as Angela's assistant. I taught dance, but I also taught speech.
Yeah.
I was kind of like a half and half teacher. And then after 5 years, the opportunity to basically start the program at Ridgepoint opened up, and that was something that I definitely, in my heart, knew I wanted to do. Was just have my own program, and so got to go to Ridgepoint. That's where I've been for the last 8 years.
Wow, you're so old.
I know, but you're still older.
And so, what's something that Angela taught you that you used opening your new school? Because she's kind of a legend for those of you that, since this is kind of a niche theater podcast, and I'm talking to a dance
say
teacher,
hello, thespians.
Yeah. So,
my bad.
So Angela Hayes, who also has her own podcast,
Danceable Thoughts.
Yes, and she's now a retired, long-time dance teacher, taught over 30 years.
Yeah.
And most of that at Dulles.
28 at Dulles.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so that program became hers. Like the dolls are synonymous with Angela Hayes. But by the time you started teaching with her, she had already been teaching for 15 years at Dulles, maybe?
Yeah.
About?
Or 20.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's something that she kind of gave you that was valuable in your time to go to Ridgepoint? And we'll talk about actually the size of your dance shows, because I think that's something, I don't know if you learned that from Angela, but that's definitely an Angela-ism, is to have a huge spring.
Yes.
It's a musical is practically what it becomes as far as production value is concerned.
I will say the first teaching that I learned from her was that she was so great at Dance One, at taking like Dance One talent and just pushing them and challenging them to get to where they could be on her team and very competitive on her team. I also learned that she wasn't necessarily a director, she was a coach.
Right.
And it took me a while to kind of switch that mentality. And when I switched into that mentality of being more of a coach than like a director, it really changed my outlook. It changed my relationship with kids.
And she let her players play, if you give that analogy to sports. Because, I mean, from watching her, I always thought she's letting her kids kind of figure it out, and she's kind of helping them along.
Absolutely.
She's not necessarily telling them every small step. She's a macro manager, not as much of a micromanager.
But from her curriculum standpoint, she's so good at like bringing in the Dance 1 teaks and those Dance 4 teaks.
Oh, sure.
Like when I watched her with the first time with her officers and with the 3-year seniors on the team, I was like, oh my gosh, this is all Dance 4 teaks. This is exactly what they're supposed to do.
So you know your teaks?
I know my teaks, my texts.
Did you know that before you wrote curriculum?
Definitely not.
Okay. And the truth comes out. So, all right. So Angela was very well known for putting on massive spring productions.
Yeah.
And you now are pretty well known for that as well. I mean,
mainly because I text you.
Just by going by social media and your need
can I buy your movers
of lighting.
Yeah.
But like even this year, you had, was it a false proscenium kind of thing built or some massive, like, was it a roof or I don't even know what it was. Well, there was something over the stage.
Andrew,
I built a roof. That's what it was. What was over your stage?
Andrew, our tech guy, had extended the stage.
Former tech guy.
I know.
Anyway, continue.
I love Andrew Russell. Well, I have, at the same time, I also have some really great parents.
Okay.
And I have really great parental support. And these two parents that I have, Jennifer Camp and Tammy Bro, are artists within themselves. And so our theme this year was, think of Into the Woods meets a dance show. We titled it I Wish. And my big picture was I wanted the auditorium to become a forest. I wanted the setting. As soon as you walked in, you felt that you were in a forest. And so they built trees that extended out into the audience on our ramps with gossamer hanging from the catwalk and a chandelier that lit up in the center. So that was it. It was great for the audience because they felt that they were a part of it, but it was also so good. Yes, that's great. But it was so great for my kids too because they absolutely loved. They loved looking out and feeling more that like they could see the scenery in front of them, not just behind them.
Yeah. So gossamer, that was not something I knew about, or I didn't know what it was called until I met Angela Hayes.
Oh yeah.
There were two things that that when I started working at Dulles that I learned really quickly are very important to the dance community. Gossamer. Mm-hmm. Do you know the other one? Mm-hmm. Glitter.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Like it's like it's your crack cocaine. It's like you can't do a show unless you have those started. You can't do a dance show unless you have those two things. So that said, do you feel bad for theater directors that have to paint a stage that's covered in glitter? No. And glitter that has been there for 5, 10, 15 years. I mean, is there a little bit of you that kind of feels bad? No. Because we also dance in a gym. And I remember as a high schooler, like sitting on the gym floor in ball position, which is like, kind of like child's pose. We can. And looking at the wax on the floor and thinking, this is disgusting. But they do that every year.
They do it every year. But the fact that, we put glitter on the floor, we just,
It's just, this is actually an intervention. That's why I wanted you on the podcast.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
You're taking the hit for all dance teachers right now. Stop using glitter. Okay, so how much theatrical prowess do you have? So there's a video of you out there right now from this summer of you killing it in some karaoke performance.
Yeah, I did it for the kids.
Sans alcohol. No,
Correct.
no drinking.
Yeah.
It was a performance plan for the children.
Yeah, that's right.
But you are highly theatrical.
Well, thanks.
Is that something that you teach your kids? Try to be like.
I do,
animated?
and believe it or not, I think that's the hardest to teach because for me it's so innate. And a little bit more about my history for the third grade listeners out there.
Yeah, for all those third graders aspiring to be dance teachers.
Yeah, I hear you guys. I am from a theatrical family, mainly the kids. My parents are not. It's not like they have degrees or careers in it, but I always pinpoint down. My parents like to entertain. My dad's a jokester. And a storyteller. Yeah, social entertainers. Growing up, they had parties at the house, and they were very thematic. Casino night, a crazy New Year's Eve party, or this and that. And my two brothers are theater dudes. One went the musical theater route. One went TV and film. And so it was just always just in our nature. I didn't know that at Christmas Eve, like it wasn't normal to have a talent show. That's what we did. I mean, did you? No.
Well, I'm Jewish, so no.
Yeah. So
every night of Hanukkah, talent show. It was 8 nights of talent shows.
Oh, Ava's so lucky.
Yeah, I know,
Man.
right? Well, she has a Christian mom, so it's 9 nights of talent shows. Yeah.
So I guess for me, why I like to do the big shows like Angela's, because I like to entertain. If I'm gonna have an audience for 2 hours, 2+ hours, like I want to keep them on the edge of their seats, because I definitely learned at an early age, going to see my brother's shows was like you want to leave the audience wanting more.
Is there value in a recital?
Yes, and I mean I currently participate in a recital. My daughter does too, but a recital is different than a nighttime show.
Sure.
A recital's a 4-hour middle of the day, one-time shot.
Right.
Whereas to me, like the show is, it's a Friday or Saturday night.
Right. Recitals you can come and go kind of thing.
Yeah. Whereas these shows are like prime time.
Do you sit there? Because I, as a lighting person, I sit there and I look up at shows 90% of the time. I don't look at the show. I look to see what's changing and what's, as a dance teacher, do you do the same with kind of dance? Do you go to your brother's performances and critique?
Yes. Yeah. One of his first shows was Fosse. And that's really when I started noticing lights was a lot more. And they won a Tony.
I don't mean just lights. I mean like with dance,
thing.
with choreography, with like, do you sit there and does your mind get wrapped around a specific element rather than just watching the show and enjoying it?
Well, I mean, high school dance, we have 3 seasons, so you see it differently.
Yeah.
3 different ways, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
You see it on a football field, and you're looking more
widespread.
For widespread visuals, formations. When we go to competition and you see it in a gym, that's our competition time. So you're looking at choreography and you're looking at technique.
Right.
And then when you see it on a stage, to me, it's you got to hop the whole.
Well, and there are no
package.
judges for your fall or for your spring show.
Right.
So that's part of it too. You're the judge.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's also the time of year where you can push your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do most of your kids think that the springtime is the fun time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In the last couple of years, we've had very successful spring shows, and they know that that's the end goal.
Right.
As opposed to just like, oh, it's just a recital.
Right.
They know that, like, even though we just went through a hard competition season and it's March, like, we still have 3 more kind of hard months ahead. But they love it because it's also, they do their own choreography. They get to test themselves and push themselves. Do
you, do some of your kids do the musical, or is it too much of a conflict with UIL?
It's too hard. Yeah.
So do you try to give them that musical theater experience though?
Yes.
I mean,
very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so. And And I do definitely in the shows that we do. I like Angela. I weave a story in and out. It's not just like this next dance was choreographed by blah blah blah. The program allows them to know who did all that. Whereas I'd like the show to, the storytelling to be from the dancers themselves, the performers.
For I keep talking about your spring show, but that's like the closest thing to theater that there is that you guys do. Right. But with the spring show, is it something that do you tackle it as a dance show, or do you tackle it as like a full production, lights, sound, sets, costumes? Does that make sense?
Yes. Answer B. Yes.
Answer B. Okay.
Yeah. The last couple of years, I've started with the end in mind. So our theme, 2 years ago, we did The Greatest Show. Before The Greatest Showman even came out.
Oh, really?
I was like, I want to do the circus. And
so you figured that out before Wolverine did? Wow. Yes, Ava?
I'm just going to the bathroom.
You're not allowed to go to the bathroom. Oh, okay.
So everything that we decided, starting from music that we chose, and then into costume, and then into...
Your kids have some ownership of that?
The officers do.
Okay.
Yeah. Everything's kind of decided on that show. And it's really helpful, especially since I've got some really good prop parents, that we just all have an end goal in mind. So everything...
Parents that do props, not prop parents.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
We made these parents. They're really cool. A newspaper, some glue, a little tape.
In the dance world.
Prop parents.
Everyone knows. They're prop parents. Yeah. Yeah. Different in the theater world.
You've never seen Medea, have you? Because prop children is different than children that do props, if you know anything about Medea. But I digress. Yeah. That is getting a huge laugh right now, by the way, from those third graders.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry. It's Ava's fault. She had to go to the bathroom.
So, do I look at it from lights and sound and everything? Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely. you plan it as a full production.
Absolutely.
And how much help do you get, and how much would you want more help from theater? Like, do you want more theatrical input?
Yes and yes.
Okay.
Yes. I'm very fortunate at Ridgepoint. One, we have like immensely talented kids.
Sure.
And so I just kind of tell Brooke and tell Andrew, hey, I need 3 MCs, I need 4 MCs, I need 6 kids working tech, this and that. Yeah. And they give me the best of the best, which is really nice.
Well, there's something like, speaking on behalf of my own kids, students, they look forward to the dance stuff because it's different.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing, especially some of these juniors and seniors that have been doing the same thing for years now, and they look at the dance show as it's more unique. It's there's something a little different. It also flows different than a musical.
For sure.
Everything come out all right, Ava?
Yeah.
You wash your hands? Yeah, but my students look forward to it. And again, back when Angela was there, she did a little different than what we've got now, but neither of them are wrong. They're just different. But dance shows are always, I always try to teach my students, especially the designers, like dance is a little more loose, like because it's your vision, you're not trying to stick to a script as much.
Right.
So when you say Into the Woods or Great Showman or whatever you stole from Wolverine, when you say circus to you might be something completely different than circus to somebody else, or the way that a show is written might be super specific, but for dance it's not. Yeah. And that's kind of the fun.
It is the fun, but also the hard part.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you do feel like you're stuck and you're just trying to think of something. You
still have to have
original.
Some continuity to it. You can't just have a circus from the 19th century and then a circus today and put them together and say it's one circus.
Like we had to have a vision board and a Pinterest board as well. That was like, okay, we're gonna do vintage circus.
Right.
And then this last year, I like our I Wish. we had to be very, okay, it's these, to me, I wanted it to be Grimm's fairy tales, not Disney princess.
Sure.
So I was like, no Little Mermaid.
Shows a little more insight into your personality, huh?
A little bit.
Yeah. You might laugh a lot, but it's dark and gloomy in there. What is some, this is shifting things, but what is some way that technology has helped the dance room?
The dance room?
Mm-hmm. Like the classroom environment in dance.
You know what? When I went from third grade to high school, my first
teaching,
yes.
Not some child prodigy here. When I graduated third grade and started high school at 8. Yeah.
My first realization, looking at what kids could do, and this was in 2006, 2007, looking at the technical aspect kids could do dance-wise, blew my mind. Because as a performer, I was only a few years removed,
sure.
like from college and whatnot. And I give a lot of credit to, one, YouTube, and two, So You Think You Can Dance. And having those two applications available for these kids it's really cool. I mean, it pushes my kids talent-wise, technique-wise, creativity all the time. And someone's always like, oh my, Miss Richter, look at this. Hey, I saw this really cool lift. Let's try it out.
You ever say no?
Oh yeah, they wanted to do a basket toss, and I was like, oh god.
Yeah.
I don't know.
For those of you that don't know what a basket toss is, it's when you crumble up some paper and throw it into a basket. I'm assuming that's right. Yeah.
Close. Yeah. Okay. But it was like a 80-pound girl. Yeah.
Oh. Wow. You call it 80-pound girls a piece of paper. It's 2019. She can be whatever she wants. And that is my daughter using, she's building something right now.
Yes.
I don't know what it is,
it's
but as long as we only hear hammers, not saws, we're okay. And no screaming again.
Yeah.
Although I haven't heard your daughter in a while, so hopefully that's not your daughter that she's hitting. So, real morbid. So back to technology. So there's a push to like put iPads everywhere, right?
Yes.
Put iPads in every room, 1-to-1, if you can, 1-to-1. Would that be helpful?
Oh, it's huge for us because of the instant replay.
Okay, so they can record themselves and
play it back, and just instead of, I mean, in the dance world, I can tell them how to do something. You need to straighten your knee on that leap,
right.
But until they actually see it, does it become
right
more intuitive? Which
becomes helpful in the world of theater too. I mean, musically speaking, well, actually any type of play, but especially musicals. Showing kids that aren't used to being in front of a mirror and may not be in front of a mirror. You may be choreographing on stage with nobody, without them being able to see what they're doing. But yeah, that's where that technology comes into play. Have you done a musical, choreographed musical?
I have, yeah. When I was at Dulles.
What?
Joseph.
That's it?
Mm-hmm.
It's an easy one.
It's great. Yeah. But I mean, our musicals, typically they are at the same time as our competition season.
Sure. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are only so many hours in the day.
So how'd you make it work then? Because you were the second?
No, like I did all the choreography in the fall.
Okay.
Before Christmas. And then in the spring.
What's Christmas?
January. Sorry, before winter break.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
that 2-week holiday. Yeah.
Okay.
And then after New Year's.
You called a holiday, I called a break. Anyway, continue.
And then after, in January, I think I just went back once a week for review.
So why not do that again?
Because I'm the head director and someone else can do it.
They can pay for somebody, right?
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. We'd pay for somebody. Are there schools in our district that have kids that take part in the musical, dance kids?
Yes.
Do you know how they make that work? Is it the timing of the musical?
A lot of it's the timing of the musical. It's different for every campus. Some people will take their officers and just have the officers feature in the musical in the middle of competition season. So the jitterbugs
in a Wizard of Oz kind of thing.
Exactly. And actually what we've done the last couple years is, because my assistant has done the musical, is one, we took our JV and they were featured. Another time, this last year, we have an advanced dance class. So this was their one performance opportunity other than our end of the year show where they could be featured more. That was really helpful because it took the pressure off of our JV kids.
Yeah.
And then I also remember when I was at Dulles, like the dolls were in the musical.
Yeah.
You know, and did
You know when that stopped? When I got there. Not kidding. Well, it stopped because I chose Godspell. And so I was told, hey, we got to have a number for them to be featured. And I was like, have you looked at Godspell? Because there's not really a number to be featured. It's not like, hey, guys, here's Jesus and the Jesusettes coming out to dance for you. I mean, I could have done that, but who's to say there weren't dancing supporters of Jesus back then? So it's not in the Bible, but you know, doesn't mean it didn't happen. Just means it wasn't recorded. Lost those third graders now.
Maybe on a tablet.
Happens. All those third graders are at some private Catholic school listening. They're all, let's turn this off. He doesn't believe. He thinks they were dancers with Jesus. I'm sorry. Again, 2019. You'll offend anyone. It's true. So, okay. So how important how important is it in your mind to kind of mesh the two together, mesh theater and dance together? And I don't mean put them on stage together. I mean, give a sort of curriculum and education to dancers and vice versa to actors, a dance curriculum. And how is it important to give dancers an acting curriculum?
Well, I think at the end of the day, you know, dance is an expressive art. In my opinion, you know, it's to entertain as well. Whether it's expressing an art or it's expressing an emotion, you're still there to entertain and not influence, but educate the audience. So, I mean, and by entertain, it doesn't have to be like all, you know, jazz hands and lights and glitter.
But it is.
You know, you do also have your like emotive, lyrical sets and whatnot.
Interpretive type stuff.
Yeah. In my dance classroom, kids get to do that aspect when they're doing their own choreography projects.
Sure.
And we have a big choreography unit.
Do you consider that? Like, do you push them with that? With like, hey, you know, you can be all bendy and flexible as much as you want, but I need to see that you're also feeling a certain way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And especially for like the novice dancer, you know, we talk about like, why is lyrical? Why is jazz? You know, it has to do with like, well, what is the music telling you? Right. And that's how so many dancers, they dance like shoulders down. They kind of forget their face. And I will say that is my biggest challenge is like always practicing with face and body. Right. Because for a lot of people, that's the last thing that they have to focus on and have to do is slap on a smile. Right. You know, but that's kind of the old school Debbie Drill team, like, you know, just smile. Yeah.
The military, military dance that all shoulders and elbows.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I always the drum kids at my school, the percussion kids at my school, I'll watch them and it's miserable. And they sound great. They're good at what they do, but they don't smile. They don't have any expression on their face. And I've said to them many times, I'll even walk by them while they're on my stage and I'll say, smile, look like you're having fun, because there's no engagement with the audience. It doesn't engage. And I've seen that with dancers too. Like you said, it's all neck down. And then they, you know, there's nothing that says your eyes are enjoying this. Right. So
and it's a challenge because 95% of our rehearsal is cleaning the arms and cleaning the legs and getting the timing right, and memorizing the choreography. When really, like, the audience, what's the first thing they see when they watch dancers? They look at their face.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's also where the iPads can come into play. You know, does it look like you're enjoying this right now? Yeah. I know you're not pointing the proper way, or your toes are not facing the right direction, but should I even get invested in you? Right. Right. But yeah.
And actually, so the last couple of years, we've done a team novelty for competition. So we really have had to amp up our theatrical,
Sure.
expression. And this last year, I brought in Andrew to kind of give us like a little workshop one day at practice about, just talking about the muscles in our faces. And it opened the door for me, and threw on the light. I was like, I never really, I tell them to engage their thighs and hold in their abs and this and that. And I never really tell them about what are their cheeks doing.
Yeah. Do you think if today, if they said we're no longer competing with dance, that it would hurt you or help?
In my environment, in my school, it would hurt. My kids are very competitive. The community I teach in is very competitive, healthy. I mean, the kid, I think this is back to where I'm like more of a coach's mentality, is like that healthy competition definitely drives my kids within themselves, not necessarily like I got to beat this person, but like, wow, look what she can do. I want to learn from her because I want to be like her. In the Texas dance drill team world, like competition's only been around for, like less than 40 years.
Yeah. Do you sandwich that into the world of cheer?
No, definitely not.
Because like ESPN, 25 years ago started showing cheerleading competitions on TV.
Yeah.
And as a theater person, you're thinking, wow, it'd be totally cool to start showing our one act plays on television, and have it color commentary to it, like. Check out this kid playing Willie Loman. Wow, look how he crossed from stage left to stage right. But dance, dance has a little bit of a, I don't know. You look. It's just you associate ice skating, gymnastics, and I know you don't want me to say cheer, but cheer more to dance, right? Than you would to band, than you would to theater,
absolutely.
than you would to almost any other fine art. So those types of things are very competitive. Do you think that dance will eventually find its place in that kind of sort of mainstream popularity? I mean, I guess it has. You've already mentioned what you said, so you think you can dance or whatever it is.
Right. I feel like in a way it's more mainstream than cheer, because you have So You Think You Can Dance and Dancing with the Stars, World of Dance. I mean, you have these prime time reality TV dance competitions.
When I said mainstream earlier, I kind of meant thinking more like the legal competitive things, like Olympics kind of things, not necessarily judged by.
Well, I do know it is on
the
its
goths.
way. Yeah, I do know some people are working on it to try to get it in. I mean, the hard part of it is that it is artistic. So it's like, first of all, there's so many different styles of dance. Where do what do you start with first? And what is universal? What can the Japanese dance teams do that we can also do, that the South Americans can also do?
But isn't there an element of, well, because they can do it, we should try to learn how to do that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So the universal element, sure, you want to try and be fair, but at the same time, it's like, well, they can do this, so why don't we step up our game? Or maybe there's something we can do that they can't.
Right. But I would even say that, there's also such a big difference in how the Dallas dance teams dance, and by dance I mean choreograph and what their technical level is, compared to the Houston dance teams. And
does money come into play?
That's a good question.
Is there a complaint about money in the dance world like there is in theater world? Meaning, and I don't mean like how much you get paid. I mean what you put on stage. That's not fair that they can put that on stage. We don't have the funding to be able to do that.
Yes, absolutely.
In the competitive world?
In the competitive world, yes.
I don't mean with your spring show. I mean, obviously your spring show is going to be.
It's the top button.
What? Oh, it like turns off? I thought this was a pull back and.
No, it's the top button.
Oh, there you
go.
I got a police car now. But like, I mean, like, in theater, because we compete with theater, certain schools have more budget than others, and so their shows are going to look like they have more budget.
Right.
It's the same competition, same level,
right,
same adjudicators. Is there and for those people that dance with the band, there's that element to it, because I know School A has LED screens on stage that are showing content, whereas School B has like some painted canvas, and that's about it.
I think people's perspective of schools that have more money, it's not just surface level.
Sure.
You know, it's a lot deeper than that. That means that these kids started training at an early age at a really good dance studio, not just the YMCA or not just the local.
Those third graders that listen,
sorry kids,
they're probably at a YMCA. They're Christian third graders at a YMCA.
Yeah. By the way, my Twitter handle is
Philip Taylor.
Yes, _
Yeah.
So I think when you say, oh, it's a money aspect, it's more than just what you see surface wise, because you know that the parents are promoting it at a much earlier age.
But is that your thinking, or is that universal?
Well, like, I mean, I'm thinking of this one school that is, in my opinion, actually these two schools that are, in my opinion, like the top 2 best schools in the state.
Right.
Can I name them?
Talent-wise.
Should I not?
It's up to you.
Talent-wise for sure, hands down.
We already gave your Twitter handle.
Right. Yeah. But you know, and I have a lot of mad respect and mad props. Kingwood High School and Seven Lakes. And I know their directors, and we admire them in so many ways. I mean, I love to watch them at competitions and at camps to see what they bring, because they really do raise the bar. But what they also bring is, you know, they bring in choreography and choreographers that continuously push them, their technique. And I mean, these kids are athletes.
Right.
They're amazing at what they can do.
Which has nothing to do with finances. It's just what's in the water.
Part of it, right.
But those, well, it has to do with finances, but not directly related to the department. It could be that they have wealthier family, they have a wealthier upbringing, because both of those communities are on the wealthier side. So maybe they, as kids, which you can't really police that. Like, that's not fair.
Not at all. Yeah.
But
and I will say, you know, in our side of the district, my kids have more access to dance studios than another part of the district. You know, so when kids look at us, people look at us, they think, oh, you know, where the money's at, but not necessarily. I mean, we have the same district budget, but maybe our kids have been exposed to it longer.
Sure, they just exactly. So it's more of a they've been trained for a longer period of time than some of these kids that you were saying way earlier, which I feel like was a long time ago, but in podcast world it was probably 30 minutes ago. But when you were talking about how Angela was really good at cultivating those dance ones, you know, part of I think her challenge and why she excelled at Dulles was she didn't have the kids that were trained starting from diapers. Very true. You know, she was really good at getting those kids that liked dance, but they weren't dancers. And so that's, I think, a little bit of a difference. And that has to do with also understanding, I guess, the school and theater, band, choir, orchestra, all the fine arts, I think. Yeah.
Can I tell you a quick, cool side story?
It's your show, bro.
It's my show.
Yeah.
So I had a kid at Dulles who was in my Dance One class, and then she moved up the ranks, and she later became captain of the Dolls, and she was very good. And then she became Rocket's power dancer. And just this last year, a couple of my officers came to me and were like, hey, look, I went and took this class from Casey. Hey, look at this video. And I went, wait a second. I taught her in Dance One. Yeah. I was like, I knew her when, and they're like, oh my God, she's amazing. And I think that's so cool. And I love the story of Casey, because to me at the same time, hard work is also so equally valuable to anything else you can get and do, you know, and a little bit of support can go a long ways.
Did you reach out to her and ask for like a Christmas present?
No, I just messaged
Hey girl, I like Starbucks. FYI.
Wink, wink. Yeah.
If you're at Whole Foods anytime soon, there are gift cards on aisle 3. Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah, watching students that you've trained and go through the gamut and become, as the kids say now, adults. Yeah. That's always a fun thing to do. I personally haven't had too many success stories.
Because you're so young.
Well, yeah, it's because I'm so young and so new to this. But I do enjoy, like, my students haven't gone on to be successful in theater, but they've gone on to be successful in
Life.
life. Thank you for finishing my sandwiches.
Minor